All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Judy Davis. I'm the principal of Piedmont Hills. Welcome to the first Zoom with the principal of the 2023-24 school year. Very happy to have all of you with me today. This is a big group, which is awesome. We have a lot of staff members on today that I'm going to, in a couple of minutes, introduce you to. Hold on, I'm letting people in. So I do these meetings every Wednesday morning. This time, 9 a.m. There will be a variety of topics that we will talk about this year. A lot of, when the counselors do their evening presentations, they always come to the Zoom the next morning. The counselors usually always do their presentations on Tuesday evenings, and then the next morning they come, because a lot of times what happens is you're like thinking about the presentation later on that evening, and then you're like, oh, I wish I had asked this question. And so that allows you to have that follow-up to ask the questions. God, I should have somebody like co-hosting with me and letting people in. So we do counseling topics, we do other school topics. I will often have the heads of the departments of the electives come and present to you so you know what we offer at school. But most of the time, what we talk about are issues that we deal with as parents of teenagers. I am also the parent of teenagers, as is a lot of the people that work here. We very much understand what it's like to be a parent of a teenager. And so a lot of what I try to do on these weekly meetings is to hopefully reassure you that parenting a teenager is hard and you're doing a good job. And it's okay. And so this is kind of a support group, and then also maybe give some advice, answer some questions, that sort of thing. So that's how these Zooms with the principals work. I record them every week. So I know many of you are at work right now, and you were able to join in. And that's great if you're able to join us live, but I do record them and send them out later, so that if you're not able to join us at 9 a.m., it's okay. You can still hear what we had to say. I'm going to be showing you guys our website and doing some introductions of the people that we have on staff. While we were doing that, though, and I know some of you have already started putting questions in the chat, if you have a question that you want answered today, please feel free to put it in the chat. If you just want to introduce yourself in the chat, which I've seen some of you do, that's great too. So to get started, before I share my screen, let me make sure I have the right screen up. And it's been a month or two since I've done Zoom, so bear with me. So this is our website. Hopefully you guys have been familiar with it. One thing to keep in mind with the website, if you Google Piedmont Hills, a couple of websites will come up, which I know is really annoying. This one is the right one. It's the one that says piedmonthillshigh.esuhsd.org. I recommend that you bookmark this. Rupert, if you could do me a favor and put it in the chat, the correct actual website. And you guys just bookmark it so you know that this is the website. This is the one we update. This is the one where all of the information is. A couple of things I want to show you on here. The calendars. This button right here where it says calendar, this is all of the school activities, things like that. When we get into sports later in the month, you see football is on here, back to school nights on here. But one thing, if you were ever wondering what sort of bell schedule we are on a particular day, you can see where it says regular bell schedule. Today is our first day doing the odd bell schedules. If we have a rally bell schedule or an extended lunch bell schedule, all of that's going to be on here. So if you could look ahead and see what's happening on a particular day, you would see what bell schedule we are on. Just so you know, those of you that are returning parents, when we talk about the bell schedules, this year, unlike last year when there was a holiday during the week, like for example, the week of Labor Day, which is coming up in the first week of September, we would not have had block days those days. We changed that this year. The teachers decided that they wanted every week to be a block week, no matter what. So that's the way it is this year, where every week is a block week, right? Just one thing to point out to you. The main thing I wanted to show you though on our website, if you want to find the email address, phone number of most of the people that you're going to be seeing in this meeting today, this button that says contact, that brings this list. And it has our administrators, my secretary, Ms. Lujan, the administrative support that you would see in the office. It has attendants, the advisors. So this is where you find the email address and phone number of everybody that you probably need to, outside of the teaching staff, that you would need to have contact with. So this is where you can find their contact information. You will notice that we have 2 vacancies right now. We are in the process of hiring an attendance clerk, which hopefully we will be interviewing for very soon. So we just have 1 person right now in the attendance office. And we only have 1 social worker temporarily. So that hopefully, within the next week, I'm hoping that that's going to be different. But just, we do have those vacancies. All right, let me stop sharing. Okay. Sorry, I forgot how to use Zoom real quick. Okay, so let me do introductions. Staff, I'll call on you and then you can introduce yourself and say what your role is. I'm going to start with my administrative team that is on the Zoom right now. 1 person who is part of our administrative team is Nancy Pereira. She unfortunately is at a meeting at the district right now, so she is not with us today. She will join us in other weeks, so don't worry, you will get a chance to meet her, but she's the one that's in charge of scheduling and counseling and curriculum and that. This is a change for us this year. We now have 3 associate principals. So I'm going to start with Mr. Campbell, who is not new to Piedmont Hills, but is new in his role this year. So go ahead, Mr. Campbell.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Andrew Campbell. I am the new, I'm in the new associate principal position, which is the associate principal of tiered support. I'll be working with students in small groups and kind of individually working on ensuring we have higher rates of graduation and college readiness. That's pretty much my role this year. This is my 5th year on campus, so I know a lot of the systems and everything is already in place. So if you have questions just in general, I'm a good contact for you guys.
Great, thank you. And then Mr. Corbett, who is our Associate Principal of Administration. Go ahead, Mr. Corbett.
Good morning to you all. Yes, my 2nd year here at Piedmont Hills High School, although I have many years in high school administration. I'm very happy to be here. It's a wonderful campus, and I look forward to many, many good and positive years to come. My primary role here would be to monitor attendance and also the discipline that we have here on campus. Fortunately, we do not have very much discipline or many discipline issues at all, so it really makes it for a very enjoyable job. I oversee a small team of safety members, and that would be our campus monitors and our student advisors. In addition, I do meet with the faculty to hear any of their concerns or try to remediate any of their concerns that they have here on campus. So I wear a lot of hats, I get around a lot, and I appreciate you being here and look forward to meeting you all.
Great, thank you. Okay, next up, I'm going to introduce Rupert Rosales, who is our Parent and Community Involvement Specialist.
Good morning. My name is Mr. Rosales, Rupert. My primary duties are to support the parents and the principal. So any question you may have regarding anything really, and you're having trouble finding somebody to talk to, person live, email, anything like that, I'm the person you can ask. If you leave a message, I will return it. If you leave an email, I will respond. Pretty much within the hour, I try to. But yeah, any questions, anything you guys need as far as parents, I am your person.
Thank you. Next up, I'd like to introduce our student advisors. So first up, Claire Gonzalez.
Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. Same. It's been a minute since I've used Zoom, and yeah, it's a challenge for me. This is my 20th year here at Piedmont Hills. I was a teacher for 18 years, and then last year I stepped into this position of student advisor, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful school year with all of your students. So yeah, my main role here is just to support the students in any way I can. If they're having any issues with any other students on campus and need my support, that's why I'm here. I've even helped students, in advocating for them to their teachers as well. So anything like that comes up, please send them my way. I look forward to a wonderful year with all of your students. Thank you.
And then Tim Ewers.
Hi, everybody. My name's Tim Ewers. I'm new this year, so all of you probably haven't seen me before, but I have been at Piedmont before. I was here 4 years ago as in the same role as a student advisor. And so I'm happy to be back. It's a great campus and I've missed everybody. So, and to add to what Claire said, as far as what we do, overall campus safety is our primary role. So you'll see us do a lot of the supervision. And so we're the ones that will be walking around as well as the campus monitors and kind of helping with the guidance and safety of the campus. So if you have any questions or you see us around, just go ahead and stop us. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next up, I'll introduce our counselors. Let's start with our head counselor, Jill Schutman.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jill Schutman. We have 5 counselors at Piedmont Hills, and we provide services to both our students and our families. So we do classroom presentations, we do one-on-one meetings with our students. We have an awful lot of parent nights, so we hope you'll join us for those. So our goal is basically to help your child be successful in high school and have a solid plan for after high school and help them meet that goal. We are divided by alphabet, so we each have a certain section of the alphabet that we work with. It probably won't change, but I do want to run the numbers just to make sure. So I work with students' last names DU through LE, first name K. And I'll probably start at the beginning of the alphabet next. So that would be Jennifer Cody.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to school. My name is Miss Miller Cody, and I work with students' last names A through DR.
And then again, I would be the next part of the alphabet. And then after me would be Miss Nguyen.
Hi everyone, this is Chantu Nguyen. I experienced some technical issue with my Zoom, so I'm joining Zoom room with Miss Artist right now. So I'm working with student last name LE, first name L, on the way to last name Nguyen, NGUYEN, first name J.
And then we have Margaret Iseed.
Hi, everybody. I'm Margaret Iseed, and I work with students' last names that start with Nguyen, first name K, all the way through the last names that start with SH. And welcome back. We're so excited to work with you this year.
And last but not least, we have Miss Ortiz.
And lastly, I have the last part of the alphabet. My name is Miss Ortiz, and I work with students with the last names SI through Z.
Great. And then now I want to introduce our school social worker, Yvonne Gunter. She often will join with me on these meetings, so you guys will get to know her well. So go ahead, Yvonne.
Good morning. I'm Yvonne Gunter, I'm the social worker here. And the way I see my role is basically anything that gets in the way of your student being happy, healthy, successful here on campus is my role. I also run our wellness center. Our wellness center is a space where when students are feeling anxious or maybe they're going through something really emotional, it's a space where they can take a 15-minute break to just calm down, to self-regulate and just take good care of themselves. So I also, I take referrals. I usually get referrals from teachers, often families, parents, friends, sometimes kids self-refer. And maybe Jimmy could walk them through that on the website to be able to do that. You can also refer anonymously, but I always tell people that your kids probably know it's you, which is fine. So I work with families, I work with, students to, date with teachers, things like that. Again, anything that gets in the way of them just having a great experience here is my role.
Great, thank you. And then finally, this is not a staff member, but she's very important. I want to introduce our Parent Booster president. Go ahead, Virginia.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. My name is Virginia, and I am the Parent Booster President here on campus. So the Parent Booster Club takes place of a PTA here at Piedmont Hills. We are a parent-run and parent-sponsored group dedicated to supporting our students and our staff here on campus. And we would love for you to join us. And if you're interested, you can always visit us online. I'll put our website in the chat. And also, just to throw it out there, we do have a membership drive through the month of September. So if you sign up to become a member and contribute to our Parent Booster Club, you will be entered in for a raffle. At the basic level, you can win a $100 gift card. If you sign up for other levels, and you can visit all of those different levels on our website, you'll have a chance to get more entries and win up to $900 worth of gift cards. So again, visit the Parent Booster Club website and get more information. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Are there any staff members that are on the meeting that I did not introduce? I think I got everybody. Okay. Good. So I'm going to tackle the questions that are in the chat. Parents, if you have questions, please put them in the chat and we will get to them. So the first question was asking about information on tutoring services aside from paper on campus, specifically looking for math. So first off, for those of you that are new, let me explain to you what paper is. Paper is online tutoring that is through a company called Paper. And students can access that through their arms, where they pull up their arms, they see all of the different links to things that they have access to. That's where they would access that. So Paper does tutoring in every single subject matter. One thing that's actually great about that, I don't know how if parents know or if students take advantage of it as much as they should. If they have like a big essay or paper due, like they can submit that and get feedback on it before they turn it in. So that's the one thing that I don't think a lot of students use. But your question was specifically asking for math tutoring and realizing that, especially in a subject like math, online tutoring may not be as effective as having somebody sitting right there. We are planning on having math tutoring this year. We are planning on hiring student tutors to be tutors this year through the math tutoring. We are working on getting that all organized right now. So please be patient with us and look for information to go out about that around back to school night. So the end of August, we should be up and ready to have that start running. So hopefully your students don't need tutoring quite yet in math because we just started school. And so hopefully they're doing okay. And then by the end of August, our goal is to have that up and running, and we'll send out all the information, but you can expect that that will happen this year. Kind of have it you logged on during the summer. I don't hold the Zooms with the principal during the summer. Sorry. They're only during while we're in session. So also during our school breaks, we don't have them, but I missed you guys too. This is a Wednesday morning tradition. So I love how you guys are all here. Hopefully you guys can all hear. Thank you, Rupert, for putting up the website. So Cassandra asked, how can I call the office and speak to someone with questions? Honestly, email is probably the best, especially right now with the beginning of the school year. There is a large amount of calls and large amount of questions coming in, and it can be overwhelming, especially since we don't have an attendance clerk right now. So email, that's why I showed you guys the website where you can see everybody's email address. That honestly by far is the best time and best way to get a hold of somebody. Welcome. And then Rupert, thank you, Rupert, for putting his phone number up. So if you just don't know where to direct your question, Rupert Rosales, our Parent Community Involvement Specialist, he is your resource. That's his title, Parent Community Involvement Specialist. He's your guy. So if you don't know where to direct your question, you can go to him and he will help you out and point you in the right way. Okay, we will double check the phone numbers. The problem with the phone numbers when you're reporting an absence is we do have a vacancy, and so we're working on that and fixing that. Thank you. All right, so we have several AP questions for freshman students. And so counselors, are you guys ready? I'm going to let you guys tackle these. Can a grade 9 student take an AP class in their first year?
Typically, no, it would only be for a student who's already at, like, for example, calculus math level. But for the rest of our courses in freshman year, they're non-AP.
Yeah. Math works not by grade level, but by ability level. And so if they're super, super far advanced in math, that would really be the only AP class that a freshman could take. Is there a count limitation for a student taking AP classes in 1 year?
We don't have a cap on the number they can take in a year. Again, they'd have to meet the prerequisites, so they'd have to qualify for the course. We also, just building the schedule, there's a chance that classes could conflict with one another. But besides that, we don't put a cap on the number. We do encourage students to be careful not to overcommit. They want to be active outside of school as well. Colleges do look to see that they're well-rounded. And so we want them to participate in extracurricular activities, volunteer, and make sure that they have other things beyond just academics. And so we would, and this is a big part of what we talk about at AP Information Night, is just being cautious not to overcommit. And so what we usually recommend is students start off a little slower. So sophomore year, they're usually in, if they're ready, 1, maybe 2, and then see how that feels before, going beyond that. But that would be something we cover probably in about 30 to 45 minutes during AP Information Night before they would have to commit to any classes for sophomore year.
Thank you. And then finally, who is qualified for self-study AP registration?
I would probably reach out to the assigned counselor for more information on that, because I have a lot of questions like, what are they self-studying? Is that something that would be best to wait and have them do later on in their high school career? So I would recommend reaching out to the assigned counselor. If the last name starts with SU, that would be Miss Ortiz.
Great, thank you. The library is only open for 3 days a week. Our plans having the library and hence the available resources open all days during the school hours. Unfortunately, we share our librarian with another school. And so we can only have the library open during the day on days that he is assigned to Piedmont Hills. That is not a school-based decision. That is a district decision that we are sharing a librarian with another school. That said, if you need to drop off your child early, we do open the library at 7:30 in the morning. And I'm going to make myself a note because I meant to put that in my newsletter this past weekend and completely forgot. So I'm going to make myself a note that I will include that this week. So the library is open starting at 7:30. We do have a staff member in there that if your kid wants just a place to come and hang out. Right now the weather's nice, and so they may want to hang out outside. The campus is open starting at 7:30. You can drop off your student starting at 7:30. But definitely as the weather gets colder, the library will be a nice place for them to go. One thing that we also have open this year starting at 7:30 that we didn't last year, but we do have the large gym open, and we have a PE teacher in the large gym that if you have a more athletically minded student and they want to maybe play basketball or something first thing in the morning, get their yayas out before school, the large gym is open also. Okay. Then Ms. Shootman, thank you. She put the date in for the 9th and 11th grade parent night. The link. What is the date for that, Ms. Shootman?
So the 9th through 11th grade is September 12th, and then the 12th grade is September 19th, I believe. And the Zoom link will be coming soon, but that way you can put it on your calendars so you don't forget the date. And we'll send out a lot of information and reminders. I just thought you could, book it early so you're available that night.
And then most of your parent nights are through Zoom, right?
Yeah, we usually do Zoom for parent nights for sure.
Yeah, that was one thing with the pandemic. We never obviously used to do things through Zoom before the pandemic. And then we just discovered it's actually a lot more convenient for parents. And so we've kept with that. Thank you, Virginia, for putting up the Parent Booster website and information. There's a question that went direct message, but information on students with an IEP in the orientation, like to that process in high school. So your best contact for that would be reaching out to the case manager. And if you have not heard from the case manager, you should be able to see the case manager on your student's schedule. There will be a period that says case management. Usually it's around 9th period. That's not a class, but that's where we tag the case manager for students. So if you have a student that has an IEP or a 504 plan, the case manager is your best resource. If you're struggling with getting a hold of the case manager, you can certainly email me and I will help you out. Okay. And question, how can a student find volunteer opportunities? Is that something we have posted in the counseling office?
No, since we don't have volunteer or community service required for graduation in our district, we don't collect that information. If you go online and you Google, there's a lot of different websites that help you find volunteer activities, but we don't make those connections. We just recommend students keep their notes. They oftentimes want to give them to us so we can keep a record. But again, because it's not required to graduate in our district, we don't keep records on file in the office. But it is good to keep those notes so that when they apply for colleges, they don't forget what they did in 9th grade, what dates, who was their supervisor, what activities did they do. So again, I would Google for volunteer or community service opportunities in our area. If we learn of any, we do post them, but we always post them with a disclaimer that we really aren't overseeing them. We're not vetting them to make sure they're safe. And so I do encourage you as a parent to make sure that you kind of look into what they're doing. Are they safe? Are there enough other adults around? So, be careful before they commit to something if you don't quite know what it is.
Great. Next question is, do you have access as parents to ARM School Classroom and some Canvas? So this is actually a little introduction of what we're going to be talking about next week. Next week, we will talk about all of this, how you as a parent can log on to ARMS, log on to Infinite Canvas, and log on to Canvas. Just so you know, Google Classroom, you can get, and you have to go through the teacher to get access to Google Classroom, but you as the parent can get access in Google Classroom and see the assignments. Google Classroom doesn't work in that you can see grades in Google Classroom. Google Classroom was originally designed for college students. And so in college, the theory is this, parents aren't checking on their students' grades. So you don't have access to grades through Google Classroom, but you can see assignments. But next week, that's going to be our topic next week, and we will go through this in great detail and explain everything to you. So hold on for that. But if you have not yet been able to log on to ARMS, Mr. Rosales is your guy. He will get you hooked up. And then, so ideally you guys do that so you know how to log on for next week, and then we can show you like everything that you can see in all of these different platforms. But hopefully you'll be able to log on. For kids who have allergies like peanut allergies, can we leave one set of EpiPens and Benadryl in the office in case he needs it? So you would need to contact our school health clerk, whose name is Karen Levine. Rupert, could you drop her email and information in the chat? And then we would have to make sure that we also have a health plan. If your child has severe allergies like that, we would want to have a health plan on file. So she's the contact for you to talk to about that. Is it possible to know what topic they're learning each week in each class? Can parents access textbooks online? So going through the teacher's Canvas would be the best way to know what the topics are and what they're learning in the class. When you go to back to school night, this would be a great question for the individual teachers, because that's going to vary for individual teachers. I don't know if parents can access textbooks online. Some of our textbooks are online and students can access through that. So through your student, you would be able to see it, but not all textbooks are online. The library closes after school, like after 7th, on days that it's open when 7th period ends. The lunch line is extremely long. Kids complain they don't have enough time to finish lunch. Is there a solution? Yes, there's a solution. Just be patient. Kids will figure it out. This happens at the start of school every single year, where it gets a little crazy in the lunch lines. And then once we settle into school and students kind of figure out, the problem is right now they don't know the routine of like being able to like scan and like what do they have to do. They don't know which line to go to. They don't know where to look for the food. Once the kids figure out how the lunch lines work, which hopefully by the end of this week they've figured it out, the lunch line does settle down. Even though the lunch lines are long, halfway through lunch, so lunch is 15 minutes long. I mean, 15 minutes long. Lunch is 30 minutes long. 15 minutes into lunch, the lunch lines are empty. So they do theoretically still have time to eat lunch. So. All right, Virginia put information in about parent boosters. So just right now, just realize that like everybody is like really slammed with the start of school. So if you've been running emails and trying to set up appointments, yeah, it's been really chaotic. It's always chaotic the first week of school. My hope is by the time this week is over, things are starting to quiet down a lot in the office. And so as you should be able to get answers to your emails about scheduling appointments to meet with case managers and counselors. We do not have a designated indoor lunch area. Yes, most of our students sit outside. We are lucky to be in California, that the weather is pretty much nice all year around. So when it is raining, we ask the teachers to open up their classrooms and students, and then we also will open up the library often if it's like really bad weather. Not just rain, but obviously, hopefully this year with all the rain we had last year, hopefully this year we don't have a fire season. But if you guys remember in recent years where we've had really smoky and like bad air days, we also will open up the library and open up indoor spaces for students. My student is in the 11th grade. She was advised to select advanced art because she plans to do AP art. But now she's in art 2, painting and drawings, and she still do AP art with this class. Jill, do you have an answer to this?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see, I responded back. So they basically sign up for the AP exam and they work with their art teacher to create their portfolio because we don't have an AP art class. And so I'm not sure who the student is working with, but you can either reach out to myself or their assigned counselor and we can explain that a little bit better. But basically we don't offer AP art. And so it's something that they just do as the exam, and the art teacher usually will support them through that.
Does the intro to business class under the magnet program count as a college prep elective class? Does it fit the UC and CSU admission requirements? And Ms. Shootman answered that yes, it falls under the G college prep elective. Do you have stats on where the graduating class went post high school? What universities? Do you have a rough?
I can share that for sure. I think it's going to get easier. So we're switching platforms. I don't know if anyone has an older student, you might know Naviance. So Naviance is going away and we're going to introduce Cal colleges. The district is struggling to get that all up and running. So I'm not sure how soon that's going to be available. So typically those types of resources have some way to look at past statistics for the school. So in the future, it's probably going to be a lot easier for you to quickly look and see what the stats are for previous classes, which is helpful. For now, if you would like to send me an email, I'm happy to share the stats from last year. It is self-reported, but I can share those. So it would just be raw numbers, obviously no names. But again, my hope is soon you're going to have access to a resource where you can look at trends like that.
Great, thank you. What happens on parent night? Is it the same as back to school night? No, it is not the same. So back to school night is when you go to all of your child's classes and you see the classroom and you see the teachers. The parent nights are nights that are hosted by the counselors about specific topics. So the one that's upcoming for 9th, 10th, and 11th grades, I'm gonna assume you guys are gonna talk about this is what high school is like and the types of classes that they need to take in these grades, going over the A through G requirements and basically like everything they need to do in high school to be ready for applying for college, and like graduating from high school. The 12th grade night, because 12th grade is a little bit different, 12th graders are applying for college. And so the counselors will go into details about that. You guys do an AP night where we talk about AP classes and how to sign up for that. So the parent nights are nights that are hosted by the counselors about specific topics within their purview. How'd I do, Jill, today?
You did great. And I can even post, and so you can look at an example of what we offered last year. One thing I corrected on the second one. So at first I said parent night for 9th through 11th, but for 12th, you might notice I said information night. I want to start saying information night more often because really we'd love for your student to be with you. Some of our classroom presentations are somewhat rushed and we have a lot of content to cover. So it would be best that they attend both. And so I'm going to try my best to always say information night so you understand it's for both you and hopefully your students with you because they obviously need this information. And even if some of it's redundant from what we shared in the classroom, it's for a lot of them so new, it doesn't hurt to hear it twice. And so please encourage your student to join you. If they want to be on their own Zoom in their own room, it's fine by me, but please encourage them to be on there because I think they also need to hear that information. And again, I'll put an example in the chat so you can kind of see what traditionally have we offered. These are old presentations, so don't focus much on the content because it may have changed, but just to get an idea of what types of presentations we've offered in the past, you can look at our link.
Thank you so much. I mentioned that the large gym is open before school. Is it open after school as well? It is not because we have sports teams starting practice after school. And so the gym is reserved for our right now for our volleyball team to be having practice. And I think the basketball is doing conditioning also. So that unfortunately the gym is reserved for our teams. One thing we don't offer a lot of after school, though, when we do the math tutoring, there will be some before school options for math tutoring and after school, there will be a variety. What we discovered last year with the shift in our bell schedule and school starting later, that because after school is like really 4 o'clock, that there's actually not a lot of demand for places for students to be after school. We don't kick them off campus. If your child needs to hang out, especially when the weather's nice, we do allow them. Once clubs get up and going, clubs a lot of times will do stuff after school. So there are activities that happen after school. So we don't like drive them from campus. If they're like messing around and like goofing off and doing things that we would rather them not do, then we might ask them to go home. But students are welcome to stay. It's okay. If my student drops a class because he doesn't need to take it in the middle of the day, will he have an assignment for that period, like an office aid or something like that? So we typically don't let students drop classes at this point. Keep that in mind. We build the master schedule based on student requests, and we don't let them just change their mind mostly because they aren't allowed to have an open period in the middle of the day. They have to be assigned to a class. So if for some reason a student needs some sort of schedule change, we will either have to find them another class. They may be an office aide, though we usually try to find them another class instead. My kid reported missing classes, but he was really in class. So that tends to happen in the beginning of the school year where maybe the teacher missed that they were there and the teachers don't know the kids yet. Just have your child talk to the teacher, check with the attendance office to see what periods they were marked absent. The child talk to the teacher will verify they were there and we will correct the attendance. Is it still possible for a student to switch an elective class? for example, to their first choice? Probably not. They probably didn't get their first choice because it filled up, and it's, I guarantee, still full. So unfortunately, that's especially if your child's a freshman, a lot of times they may not get their first choice as they get older, because preference goes to the upperclassmen. So that will be less of an issue. Does the school have pre-SAT to help students prepare for SAT? No, we don't offer anything like that. Jill, is there any resources out there for SAT prep?
So a lot of students will do things like Khan Academy. And one thing that's nice about that is you take like a pre-test, and then based on that, it'll have you just practice what you don't, what you need to practice. And so, they're not overwhelmed relearning things they already know. So I'd probably recommend Khan Academy. During our parent night, we'll also talk about testing, whether or not it's required at certain college systems, best way to prep for it. And so we'll give you a lot more information in September on that. But Khan Academy is a good resource if you want to get started before then.
Okay. What sites do parents have access to grades, assignments, etc.? So the two main sites that you would have access to and that you will use are Infinite Campus and Canvas, both of which you get through ARMS. ARMS is the main onboarding system. So the first step is to get an ARMS account, and you use that to be able to access everything else. And so, like I said, our topic next week is we will go in depth into ARMS, into Infinite Campus and Canvas, and show you everything. There's only 3 lines to pick up lunch compared to 5 last year. Will there be more help? Can students get second serving because the portion has reduced? Yes, once they can go back and get more food, yes, they can. And yeah, what happens in the beginning of the school year, and this is also something that makes it hard and makes the lunch lines long, is the cafeteria hires students to work, and students. So if your student is looking for an easy job that they can have during the school day, have them apply to work in the cafeteria. They get paid for it. And they actually then have all access to all the food too. They haven't finished the hiring for that. So as we hire the student workers to be in the cafeteria, they will open up more lunch lines. So more lunch lines will open up. Back to school night is August 31st, 6 p.m. How the 9th grade ASB officers were decided before the school year started. So the middle schools actually have elections. Our 2 main feeder schools, Sierramont and Piedmont Middle, have elections in the 8th grade in the spring for the 9th grade. That's how that works. Student took Math 3 over the summer to do the class changed. So just the counselor will get in touch with you. We don't have a Math 4, by the way. It's going to be math analysis. So there's no such thing as Math 4. So the counselor will get back in touch with you. Obviously, we want the student to be in the right course as soon as possible. I think we got that answered. Thank you. Will the students be notified for any sports tryouts and basketball conditioning? Yes, if the coaches are good about getting the information to me, then I publish it and send it out. Not all coaches are really great about doing that. Your best resource for any sports related questions is our athletic director, Matt Keesley. His contact information is on that contact page on the website that I showed you. So he is the best resource to get any information about any sports conditioning and tryouts and all of that. What is usually the best way to do back to school night when you have 2 students at the same school? Go the older kids or the younger kids? Jen Cody Miller, you just went through this. Do you want to take that one? How did you handle that?
I recruited my good friend to go in my absence. So I went to my older students back to school night first, and attended that one. And then I had a friend just attend the younger one, since I already kind of know the ropes a little bit too, and figured they wouldn't need as much help or guidance, hopefully. So
Andrew,
that's just what I chose.
Andrew, do you have I saw your hand go up.
I had two kids in high school at the same time until recently, and I always went to the younger one in part, it just kind of, assuming you went to the one when they were older as a freshman, now you're kind of repeating that for the younger kid and showing that you're supporting that kid too.
Yeah, I think it just play it by ear, whatever you think. Maybe you go to some classes for the younger one, you go to some classes for the older one. You know, if you have a two-parent household, maybe you divide and conquer. I know I just have one kid in high school, but my son's back to school night is the same night as ours. So I will be with all of you here at Piedmont Hills, and I'm sending my husband to his back to school night. So I know as parents, it's hard. We got to do the best we can. Yes, Jill, you guys record. Do you guys record your parent nights and they're available, or just the presentations available?
We usually just share the presentation. Sometimes it's a challenge because the recording is only for a certain amount of time. So then I have to get it onto YouTube, and then I have to do share. And then I see that it only has 2 views, and they were both me clicking on it to share it. And so we just found that a lot of times people don't have the time to go back and rewatch it. And it was quite a bit of effort trying to get it into YouTube. So we just share the presentation itself usually. So, and if you ever have questions, you just reach out to us right after, and we're happy to answer.
Great, thank you. Could you please include a note to the parents about the parking situation on both sides of the road coming into the student lot? With waiting cars on both sides, it's difficult to drive through, and a big hazard in case of emergency. Yes, it is. We are very aware of our parking lot woes. Mr. Corbett and I were having conversations about that yesterday. That is going to be a big topic in my newsletter this coming weekend. Please obey the traffic laws and be safe. And one thing I would say is you do not have to pull into the parking lot. Maybe like talking to your child and picking up around the corner could be a good solution. A lot of parents use that little by the Taco and the Shell station down the road is a great place because it's not that long of a walk for the kid, and you might find that it's a lot easier. So just keep that in mind. But yes, we are going to be talking about our traffic woes. Is there anything for freshmen to help them prepare to get their driver's license? Unfortunately, driver's ed is no longer a thing in high school. I actually don't think any high schools in the district offer driver's ed anymore. So we don't have anything in there. The DMV has resources. They have a lot of online resources now as a parent that's gone through that. And then just doing the terrifying process of teaching your child to drive. I've never been so scared in my entire life as when I taught my daughter how to drive. It was terrifying, terrifying. Scariest thing I've ever done. Not gonna lie. If you have not gone through that, just prepare yourself. I didn't know you could sweat through your feet, but I was. Yeah. For athletic students need a health form. Does it have to be the one assigned online, or can be a generic form provided by our health care provider? That is more of a question for Coach Keesley. I think the generic form should probably be fine. Just make sure that I would compare the forms and make sure that there's not anything that is asked for on the form that we have posted online that's not on the generic form, but it's probably fine. Okay. Is there a link to ARMS? I think that is the link to ARMS. That's not the link to ARMS, Rupert?
No, you got to take off the EC. So I put it in the chat. It's just
Okay.
ARMS. So we're not EC ARMS anymore. It's just ARMS.
Yeah, so I understand issues with the attendance because we have a vacancy in attendance right now. We do not have an attendance clerk. In the meantime, the best thing to do is probably email Ursula Garcia, who is the attendance secretary. And then there's a record that you emailed. As much as you can, I recommend everybody use email. It's preferable, and then you have yes, I contacted you on this day. So question about travel plans and having to take finals early, you're going to have to arrange that with your teacher. You were going to work with the attendance office to set up a short-term independent study plan. Mr. Campbell or Mr. Corbett, is that going through APA? We haven't decided that.
I don't know that we've decided. It's traditionally gone through the APA position. I've been in that position for 4 years. So right now I'm just trying to keep an eye on those that are coming through.
Yeah. So talk to the attendance office when you get closer, and like we'll set up a short-term independent study. So there's a form that has to be filled out. You would arrange with the teachers on what to do with finals. Not all teachers have a final. Sometimes it's like a final project. So it's just going to depend. So talking to the teachers is the best course of action for that. If you took your child out for a doctor's appointment, that's it should be excused. Doctor's appointments are excused. So I'm assuming that you told the attendance office that it was excused. If you want to follow up with Mr. Corbett about that, he's the one that's in charge of attendance, just to make sure that that was excused.
I'm already, I'll do it, Jenny.
All right, we're on it.
The kid's name, we'll do it.
We're on it. Thank you. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. If you guys can email me with any questions that came up that did not get answered. Hopefully you know how to contact all of the staff, and we're here to help you. I truly hope that your child had a smooth start to high school. I mean, I know we had a power outage the second day of school. Traditionally, Piedmont Hills has had a power outage in the first couple of weeks of school. The second day of school was a record for us. That was fast. Luckily, the power went back on, to the great disappointment of the students, and we did not cancel school. So thank you so much. Thomas, in that direct message, can you email me directly about that, and I can look that up? davisg@esuhsd.org, and then I can help you with that. So everybody, thank you so much. Like I said, our topic next week, Mr. Rosales and I will be here, and we're going to do everything, get you guys all situated with ARMS, Infinite Campus, and Canvas. Thank you guys. Hopefully this is a great school year. I'm very excited about this school year, and thank you. I will see you next week. Have a wonderful rest of your week and great weekend.